Good morning, everyone. Today's opportunity for reflection comes again from my trip to Ireland this past summer. There, I was able to spend about 10 days with the poet David Whyte and meet some amazing folks from all over the world. And it was really there that I learned to love poetry. I have never really been great at understanding poetry, it hasn't always felt accessible to me. And one of the reasons why I like David Whyte's work is because it does feel accessible. And it doesn't feel like super complicated and like there's some hidden meaning. It's certainly deep and there are multiple levels of meaning in the poetry, but it also is just written from his experience as a human being, and so um, it feels easier for me to access that way. So I invite you to check out his poetry if you haven't already. It's Whyte, Whyte. And this is a poem from this book, The Bell and the Blackbird, which he signed for me. Ooh, fancy. Um, anyway, this is the poem from which the book's name comes. So it's the poem called The Bell and the Blackbird. The sound of a bell still reverberating, or a blackbird calling from the corner of a field, asking you to wake into this life, or inviting you deeper to one that waits. Either way takes courage. Either way wants you to be nothing but that self that is no self at all, wants you to walk to the place where you find you already know how to give every last thing away. The approach that is also the meeting itself, without any meeting at all. That radiance you have always carried with you as you walk both alone and completely accompanied in friendship by every corner of the world, crying Alleluia. So when David shared this poem with us, he talked about these sort of two sides of a coin that we have set up in our culture, where we really deeply value religion and we really deeply value nature. And so when he wrote this, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a blackbird near his window, but there was also the church bells that he could hear from a church nearby. And so that's where he sort of came up with this juxtaposition of the bell and the blackbird. And this way that we can sometimes feel pulled in multiple directions for the way I interpreted it, for the place that we find meaning, or the place where we feel a part of things, or the place where we feel a sense of purpose. And as a pastor, I often will hear people talk about how nature is their church, or they don't need to come to the congregation because they go for a walk every week. And I just hope that we can get to a place where that doesn't have to be an either or. There are different things that I get out of hiking in the woods than I get from being with folks on Sunday morning, or being part of small group ministry, or otherwise praying or meditating on my own. There are different ways to practice connecting to that spiritual connection. And I think when we make ourselves choose between one and the other, we are doing a great disservice to ourselves. So I hope that this poem, The Bell and the Blackbird, speaks to you, and that you may find some meaning in it today amidst this uncertain time that we are sharing together. So I hope that you and yours stay well. Take care.